Hello everyone, my name is Nur Atira binti Kamarudin and I will introduce you about Farm Fresh Berhad, Malaysia's largest homegrown dairy company. The company operates using a grass-to-grass business model, which includes farming, manufacturing, and distributing dairy and plant-based products. Farmfresh was founded in 2009 by Loy Tuan E in Johor. The company started with only 60 Holstein cows imported from Australia and aimed to provide fresh and high-quality dairy products in Malaysia. Farmfresh experienced rapid growth from humble beginnings. The company expanded from 60 cows to more than 13 cows and bulls across Malaysia and Australia. This growth demonstrates Farmfresh's strong vertical integration in farming, processing, and distributions. Farmfresh also received support from Khazanah Nasional Berhad, which provided financial backing and helped strengthen the company position in dairy industry. Farmfresh has diversified its product range and now offers more than 216 products under brands such as Farmfresh, Inside Scoop, and Henry Jones. The company produces fresh milk, plant-based milk, consumed milk, lactose-free milk, and premium ice cream to meet changing consumer preferences. Farmfresh has also expanded internationally with distribution network in Singapore and Brunei, as well as processing plant in Philippines. For this case study, Australia is Farmfresh's main foreign market because it provides advanced dairy technology, large grazing land, and a stable milk supply for regional markets.
Farmfresh Berhad has chosen Australia to expand their product to maximize the quality and production. The strategic choice that company invested in Australia as a supply chain is to get a high-quality raw milk to maintain grass-to-glass value chain. To guarantee the quality of its dairy products and ensure less third-party purchases while gaining direct control over raw milk sources, Farmfresh Berhad purchased 2 dairy farms and 1 processing plant in Shepparton and Victoria. The specific reason behind such action is because of government's regulations and environmental conditions that complies with the goat farming standards. One of the reasons is the low cell count standard implementation, where a lower cell count means that a cow is healthy and free from any bacterial infection such as mastitis, which is why the bulk milk cell count (BMCC) is widely used as a primary metric for quality control in the country. Next is the reward system organized by Dairy Australia, which is one of the biggest organizations that support farm businesses and promotes dairy's innovation and development across the country. Every year, the organization will hold a Milk Quality Award where top 5% of farmers that manage to produce cows with lower cell counts will be rewarded and recognized. Such circumstances creates a competitive environment and among the industry and boosts the overall quality. Last but not least is the disease-free status of Australia. Because of Australia's isolated geography, the island nations makes government has the absolute ability to control over air and water entry to prevent any major animal disease to cross the border, even with airborne disease as the country widely separated from any mainland. Even if the disease did manage to pass over, the government has the world's best traceability system known as National Livestock Identification System, where every livestock is fitted with an electronic ear tag that will be scanned during any sort of reposition, and data will be recorded in a national database, and any contact with infected animal can be identified within minutes.
Hi, I'm Nazatun Shazana binti Nizam. Today we are going to talk about how Farmfresh is growing its business by jumping into high potential markets and its strategy against the competitors. Most of us know that Farmfresh for their milk, but they have actually grown way beyond that. They now have over 216 items in their product line. The company have expanded into high-growth retail industries by buying the popular ice cream brand which is Inside Scoop, starting their own food and beverage shops called Jomcha, and even targeting the professional barista market with their Master Barista line. One of their biggest moves was expanding into premium Australian dairy by acquiring St. David Dairy that grows farm fresh products. Firstly, they target in their supply chains right in Australia. Second, it lets them sell directly to Australian consumers under the premium local brand. It is the biggest move because Australia is a huge market for dairy. Australian customers generally have a lot of spending money and care much more about quality than quantity, especially when it comes to everyday foods like dairy. They are not overly sensitive about the price as they are willing to pay more for the good stuff. So by launching there helps Farmfresh grow its business internationally by giving its brand image a major boost both at local and abroad. Now let's look at the competition. In Malaysia, Farmfresh is the absolute leader in the chilled dairy industry, holding a massive 50% market share. To capture even more of the market for dairy products, they purposely keep their prices lower than big competitors like Dutch Lady, Nestle and Marigold. But in Australia, it's a whole different strategy since they have to compete with the big global companies like the Lactalis Group and the Little Big Dairy Co. who already control most of the standard milk market in Australia. Farmfresh's biggest secret weapon is their integrated supply chain. Farmfresh owns a massive 2,538-acre farming base in Australia. While other dairy companies are struggling with unpredictable global supply chains, Farmfresh uses on Australian farms to get the raw materials. This completely protects them from global supply threats and gives them a huge competitive edge. Looking ahead, the company is increasing its manufacturing capacity by about 44% to prepare for more regional expansion. They are also shifting toward high-margin products like Inside Scoop to help cover rising business costs. It's definitely a bit of a risk, but because the ice cream market is highly competitive, but it's a smart way to bring in more profit.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Nurul Farina Fahana and I will be explaining on Farmfresh financial year and economy and trade environment. Farmfresh recorded strong financial performance after its international expansion. In financial year 2025, the company achieved group revenue of 981 million ringgit, representing a 21% increase compared to the previous year. The company also sold around 203 million litres of finished dairy products. In quarter 2 of financial year 2026, Farmfresh recorded 295 million ringgit in revenue, which increased by 18%. Patami also increased significantly by 40% to 28.5 million ringgit. In total, the company owns more than 15,000 cows, including Australian herds. These figures clearly show that Farmfresh's Australian operations contributed greatly to the company's financial growth. Australia provides a stable and supportive business environment for Farmfresh. Economically, Australia's GDP growth is forecasted to increase to 2.25%, while the dairy industry continues to grow rapidly. The Australian dairy market is expected to grow from $7.05 billion to $11.02 billion in the future. In terms of trade environment, agreements such as NAFTA and CPTPP provide tariff-free advantages and easier export activities.
Hi, my name is Noraina Malisa. Now I'm going to talk about political environment. Australia has a stable political environment that supports international trade through agreements such as free trade agreements. These agreements help reduce trade barriers and create opportunities for companies like Farmfresh to expand into global markets. However, they also increase competition from foreign producers. In addition, Australia has strict regulations overseen by the Australian Competition and Consumer Commission, known as the ACCC. These regulations ensure fair competition and consumer protection, so Farmfresh must comply with them when conducting marketing activities. Environmental sustainability is also becoming increasingly important in Australia. Consumers and policymakers are paying more attention to sustainable business practices. Programs such as Dairy SET encourage dairy farmers to improve sustainability, environmental protection, and product quality. Next, cultural environment. Australia is a multicultural country with people from diverse ethnic backgrounds. This diversity influences food preferences and consumer behavior, creating opportunities for Farm Fresh to offer products that appeal to different cultural groups. Australian consumers place a high value on food safety, freshness, and quality. Research shows that most consumers prioritize these attributes when purchasing food products. Therefore, Farm Fresh can highlight the freshness and quality of its dairy products to meet consumer expectations. Furthermore, social media influencers and celebrity endorsements play an important role in shaping consumer perceptions.
In conclusion, FarmFresh global expansion strategy has strengthened its growth and market positions. The company expanded into Australia and Southeast Asian countries to improve milk production and meet increasing consumer demands. FarmFresh should adapting its product and marketing strategies to local market while maintaining its strong brand image and sustainable growth. That's all from us. Thank you.